In 40-degree heat, this stage exploded out of the rest day. Vingegaard attacking Pogačar, a breakaway that never formed, and why did Van Aert and Van der Poel go up the road? Another stage in the Vulcania regional near Clermont-Ferrand, and it went to Issoire. It looked like a medium mountain nailed on breakaway stage. It's too hard to really control for a strong sprinter like Philipsen. It's perfect for someone like Alaphilippe in the breakaway. But as I mentioned, super hot conditions, the GC riders had the ice vests on at the start. And at that start, there was a climb about 3Ks out the gate. So everyone waited till that. And Neylands, just mark him down. Chris Neylands, probably the strongest rider in this whole stage. The amount of times he was off the front was crazy. And, Quickstep wanted to be in with Cavagna, and Neylands was there again. Van Aert wanted to be in. And here's Tadej Pogačar sitting pretty deep in the group. This is the first 5K, 5% climb of the day. Nothing too nasty, but it's kicking off. He's deep, Vingegaard's ahead. And just note his position there. Deep left, not really with his teammates. Neylands is pushing it. And Adam Yates jumps here. Now, does he jump because Bardet and Simon Yates, his brother, have jumped with GC Kuss? Maybe. And so Jonas Vingegaard on the right, he immediately has decided here, I'm going to jump. And he gets onto the back of the Arkea rider that jumps on the left. And Tadej Pogačar isn't with him. We saw this last year, but now the roles are reversed. And Micah's pacing. Pogačar, I'm not sure if he knows Vingegaard's jumped at this point, and Vingegaard's sort of towed onto the back of that group, a la Hindley style, to much success on the Marie Blanc stage, and Pogačar's not in this group. That's Mühlberger, I believe, second wheel behind Micah, who's closed Vingegaard, and Pogačar's bridged it across himself over the top of that climb. So caught napping, or I don't know, got boxed in maybe when the peloton swung left. Trentin or Langen, whoever, they're telling the Ineos riders, don't worry, no, there's no one up the road. It's Mikkel Bjerg up the road, and no, Yates and Bardet, don't worry about chasing it. And so no one actually chases behind for a little bit, even though don't worry about the top two. There's Simon Yates and Romain Bardet in this group. Eventually Bora and Ineos cotton on, and UAE start pushing. Now, it's not like Vingegaard was on his own. He had Kuss in the group, then Pogačar attacks the group and drops his own teammates, which this didn't make too much sense because he gets across to the breakaway ahead, the Group 1, which has just been sitting here with Neylands and Co. and Bilbao, and he sort of stops and doesn't continue. So Ineos eventually chase that down as a resplit, because the last thing you want to see if you're in the break is Pogačar and Vingegaard, because you want to get clear of that because they'll get chased down, which they do. Jumbo come back to the front with Van Aert. He tries to bridge across, but he drops himself with Skelmoser, Kwiatkowski pacing, and now Kuss is going again. This is like 30 k's into the stage. Break formation's nowhere near finished. Kuss is trying to tag onto moves, or Kelderman, I think this time. Lander's getting there. Grosjean looking, do I jump with this? Vingegaard's just a back, and then Alaphilippe gets a lead out from Asgreen to bridge across with Zimmerman on his wheel. Now I think this was Kuss on his wheel. Again, UAE chasing. So UAE and Jumbo using this break formation phase to throw jabs at each other. Neylands again off the front. Alaphilippe tries to bridge across on a descent with Mohoric, but they don't get anywhere. And Gaudu and Bardet actually got dropped, so FDJ had to put in the team time trial to get back. And still, Jumbo-Visma are trying to slip into moves here, and UAE are chasing. So Vingegaard and Jumbo obviously trying to put Pog and UAE under pressure. Chavez launches it finally. We get a Group 1 that goes, we get a chase group that also sticks, and this is a strong group. The closest on GC is Bilbao on 7.5 minutes, not that far off the guys in the mid-top 10. Chavez here, Skelmoser, Nick Schultz, some strong climbers, and they work really, really well together, perhaps too well, because Asgren's got a teammate behind in Julian Alaphilippe. It finally calms down. Laporte on the front, DSM and FDJ come back. No harm in the end, but a big fright for them out of the rest day. And Asgren's on the radio, you see here, saying, what do I do? Because I think he was about to get dropped. This is another climb. The climbs did not relent. There was 3 in the first 60 Ks. And Barguil puts him under a lot of pressure. The other good climbers use Asgren up. And he eventually gets dropped when Chavez increases the pace. And now does he wait for Alaphilippe behind? And they have to chase like 16, 20 kilometers plus to Bilbao, O'Connor and Co. They eventually get across on the flat with Chavez. I mean, do you really want to pace on the flat to keep Asgren behind if you're a climber? Not really. So they eventually come back, and it is a bit more chill in the peloton. Van Aert goes to the front, which is curious because maybe even Jumbo could have paced for a stage win. Chavez attacks with 85 Ks to go and a lot of flat terrain and descending left through a feed zone. You can see everyone eating behind, probably didn't endear him to his colleagues. I don't know if this was for a KOM point. It's really fruitless because the cooperation behind was good. Teams had multiple teammates like Quickstep and Israel. He gets caught back after the 8K Furore, and back in the peloton, Alpes and Phoenix start chasing with Sylvain Dillier. They put one rider. He holds the gap kind of stable. Jumbo would have been happy. And maybe is this for Philipsen, but they're never going to catch like O'Connor, Bilbao. And, Durbridge is also pacing for Jayco. That's to keep the gap stable to Pello Bilbao so he doesn't leapfrog Simon Yates on GC, which he would do anyway on this stage. And then Van der Poel starts pacing. And so surely it's for Philipsen. Neyland's Fuga de la Fuga, again another attack, but the cooperation's too good behind. And then MVP surges on the descent. Van Hooijdonk here, he's off the wheel of Van Aert. He's like, well, this isn't going anywhere. We don't want the stage win, so I'm not going to expend any extra energy closing this down. Van Aert gets a free ride down the mountain, but they are never ever going to catch, with this descent into the base of another 6K climb, these really good climbers. Van der Poel's on the radio saying, what do I do? Because he's going to get dropped on the next climb anyway, and weren't they just pacing for Philipsen? Otherwise, why were they pacing? Van Aert gets on the radio saying, do I relay with him? Like, why are we off the front right now? I thought Alpes and De Koning were pacing for the Philipsen stage win. He eventually does get the word to relay. Jayco are pacing behind. The only thing I can think of is that Van Aert wanted to be ahead, so he had a head start for this climb and didn't get dropped, so he'd be there in the final. But yeah, those two are relaying in no man's land, and Schultz absolutely sends it on this climb for his teammate Neylands. Drops Kwiatkowski, drops Skjelmoser. Wout van Aert and Van der Poel are pulling, but they're losing so much time to, really good climbers absolutely launching it. And when Neylands goes, no one can respond. Bilbao was smart, didn't go over his limit. Freyler and Ineos were chasing to try and bring Bilbao back or manage that gap. Van Aert continues on the climb and Van der Poel just sits up. So it remains a mystery to me what the plan was. I have no idea. They got some good camera time though, and it made the stage entertaining from the GC group. Neylands goes over the false summit. 40 seconds. Bilbao trusts the group behind is going to be quicker on this descent. It's a pedaling descent. The group behind goes so much quicker, and they eat into this gap bit by bit by bit until eventually they catch him with just over 3Ks to go, which is too late for Neylands to recover. I've never seen such good cooperation in a chase group. Bilbao always kept it going, but O'Connor, the guys who don't have the big sprint, he throws in a dig. Then Zimmerman, the big German who won on the Dauphiné, I thought this was the winning race move, but Bilbao was good enough after closing O'Connor to a snap onto Zimmerman's wheel, who had good timing, and Bilbao out of the draft. And then Bilbao absolutely dusts everybody in the sprint. He's won a stage of the Giro, he's won stages in many of the World Tour 1 week races, and now wins a stage of the Tour de France. Huge and emotional win for Bahrain, victorious. And Bilbao also moves up to 5th on GC. But Bilbao wins ahead of Zimmerman, O'Connor, Neyland, Chavez, Pedrera, Skjelmoser, Kwiatkowski, Barguil, Alaphilippe. Hope you enjoyed the video. Could it be a break tomorrow or a sprint? I have no idea. Could be either of them. The way the peloton's going in these hot conditions, it's sure to be exciting. I'll see you with the recap tomorrow. Ciao.